When you hear the name Earvin Magic Johnson, what comes to mind? For so many of us, it's that electrifying smile, that unbelievable pass on the basketball court, a legacy that is so much bigger than just sports. His story is really like a three-act play: the revolutionary player, the courageous survivor, and the brilliant mogul. So how did one person completely redefine what it means to leave a mark on the world? Let's get into it. Everything really starts with this one number: 6 feet, 9 inches. And for our friends using the metric system, that's 2.06 meters. Now, in basketball, that's a big dude. That's the height of a power forward, a center, guys who live under the basket. So here's the big question. How did a player this tall become the greatest point guard in history? You know, the floor general, a position that was always for the smallest, fastest guy on the team. That one paradox, it changes the whole game.
And that question takes us right into Act 1, a new kind of magic. This is where we see a young player who didn't just break the mold, he completely shattered it.
To really get how wild this was, you have to understand the job of a point guard. They're the coach on the floor, the playmaker. They're supposed to be quick, agile, see the whole court, and run the offense. They were basically never the tallest player on the team. That is, until Magic came along.
I mean, just look at his rookie season. It's the 1980 NBA Finals, the biggest stage in the sport. His team's superstar center, the legendary Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, is out with an injury. So what does this rookie do? He just steps in at center and at forward and at guard. He literally played every single position on the floor to win the championship. It was just this unbelievable performance that basically announced to the entire world that a whole new kind of player was here.
That individual brilliance wasn't just a flash in the pan. It became the engine for a whole dynasty. And that brings us to Act 2, Showtime and the Rival. This is where Magic's talent created an entire era of basketball and fueled a rivalry that defined the decade.
Welcome to the Showtime era. Seriously, this was more than just basketball. It was a Hollywood spectacle right there on the court. With Magic running the show, the Lakers were the hottest ticket in town. The stats are just mind-blowing. 5 championships, 3 MVPs, a 12-time All-Star. But it was the style that changed everything. Those famous no-look passes, the lightning-fast breaks, he made winning into an art form.
Of course, every great hero needs an equally great rival. And for Magic, that was Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. It was the perfect matchup, wasn't it? Lakers versus Celtics. West Coast flash against East Coast grit. Showtime versus hustle. Their battles were more than just games. They were these massive cultural events that grabbed the whole country's attention and helped make the NBA the global powerhouse it is today.
And then, at the absolute peak of his fame, at the height of his powers, the story takes this sharp, unbelievable turn. This next chapter, it isn't about a game. It's about life and death, in a moment that was so much bigger than sports.
Let's just pause on this date. November 7th, 1991. For anyone who followed sports, or really even just the news back then, you remember this day. It was one of those moments where it felt like the entire world just stopped spinning. This was the day the world watched one of its biggest heroes deliver the most shocking news imaginable. Because of the HIV virus, I have to retire from the Lakers today. At that time, an HIV diagnosis was seen by many as a death sentence. To see this icon of health and vitality stand up and say that, the shock was just immense. It went far, far beyond basketball.
But this is where the story of Magic the player ends, and the story of Magic the survivor begins. This wasn't an ending. It was the start of a brand new fight, a new game, with a mission that would end up having an even bigger impact on the world.
Think about it. He could have just vanished from public life. No one would have blamed him. But he did the opposite. He stepped right back into that spotlight and used his fame to become a leading voice for HIV awareness, completely changing how the public saw the disease. And then, in this incredible moment of pure joy, he made a triumphant, if brief, comeback in 1996. It just proved to everyone that his spirit was truly unbreakable.
All of which brings us to the final act of his incredible story. And honestly, it might be the most surprising one. After conquering the basketball court and facing down a deadly disease, he decided to take on a totally new arena, the world of business.
And, big surprise, he dominated there too. Magic Johnson Enterprises became a massive success. But it's how he did it that's so brilliant. He took that same court vision, that sixth sense for seeing a play develop before anyone else, and applied it to business.
finding opportunities in communities that others had overlooked. He brought that same point guard leadership to the boardroom, and he became one of the most successful athlete-turned-entrepreneurs ever.
So when you look back at it all, the player, the survivor, the mogul, you see one common thread running through everything: resilience. He proved that a legacy isn't just built on trophies or accomplishments. It's built on how you respond when the rules of the game suddenly change. Which kind of leaves us all with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? A legacy is about what you overcome. So, what will yours be?